What's out there? What creates the shadows in the corners or the creatures of the dark? Who are those on the other side? What do they have to say? This is the Gateway Podcast. This is not your normal style of paranormal talk radio. Brought to you live from United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM New Orleans.
Are you ready to explore the unknown? Dive into the world of the strange, mysterious, and unexplained with Eerie Expeditions magazine. Each issue is packed with spine-tingling tales, cutting-edge paranormal investigations, and exclusive insights into hauntings, cryptids, UFOs, and more. Whether you're a seasoned investigator or just love a good ghost story, Eerie Expeditions magazine has something for you. Join our growing community of truth seekers and adventure lovers. Subscribe today at EerieExpeditionsMagazine.com and unlock the secrets of the supernatural. Are you ready? That's EerieExpeditionsMagazine.com, where the
Scientists agree that the best chances of finding alien life will be on planets similar to ours. And descriptions of extraterrestrials seem to resemble humans in many ways. Some ancient astronaut theorists draw a surprising conclusion from these facts, suggesting that aliens might actually be human.
It is odd that many of the descriptions of aliens are effectively humanoid, and this raises an interesting possibility. One idea that's been put forward is that these are not extraterrestrials at all, but they're time travelers from the future.
They could be us from 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 years from now. Let's assume for a moment that 10,000 years from now on this planet, if we all survive, that time travel was created. They've invented it. Just like the time machine of H.G. Wells' days. They can go back or they can go forward. So let's assume 10,000 years from now, we decide to come back to see us. Maybe they have changed physically. They look like the alien Greys or whoever they may be.
It could well be that ancient astronauts might not be creatures from other planets at all, but time travelers from 2720 in a time machine.
Time travel is an essential concept for science fiction. But would it be possible for flesh and blood humans to find a way to transport themselves through time with current technology? Would this enable us to cover the vast distances of space?
If I could travel close to the speed of light, I could reach the year 3000, say, in a couple of years. I have to get very close to the speed of light for that, but it's doable, and we know that this isn't a theory. This is real physics. We can demonstrate these time-warping effects. So you can reach the future quicker by traveling close to the speed of light.
The concept of time travel was first proposed by Albert Einstein in 1905, when he published his theory of special relativity.
Ancient astronaut theory says that astronauts visited us a long time ago from somewhere else. The technology involved in doing that, we would assume, would be similar to what we understand now. I mean, we know special relativity is a law of physics. It holds anywhere in the universe. Ancient astronauts would come all the way here, travel these large distances, and not age that much relative to their home planet. Because if you're going close enough to the speed of light, you will have slowed down time enough that when you get back, hundreds, thousands, or even millions of years could have passed.
I never thought I would find a correlation with blood and abductees. 69% of all of our abductees are Rh negative. Rh negative people's personalities are different than Rh positive personalities. It's not necessarily that one's better or worse than the other, they're just different. Their psychic abilities tend to stand out more. They tend to be more go-getters. They tend to want to be more involved with things on the planet. No one knows where Rh negative came from. It appeared 35 or 45,000 years ago out of the blue, and for no reason. As far as I know, Mother Nature didn't need it. It's not us doing this. It's something else. When I talk to scientists about this, or somebody in the hematological world, I ask them, I said, okay, O negative is only 7% of the world's population. I said, what is it? They can't answer me. He said, all we can tell you is it's the purest form of blood known to man and is the universal donor. They don't like hearing the UFO or the alien word, but even they can't deny it could be a possibility. I don't know if they're ignoring it or just not saying anything to us about it. And the other weird thing about this is 40,000 years ago, it was 1% Rh negative. Today, I think it's up to about 18%. It's growing. We lived in a brown hair, brown-eyed, brown-skinned planet for 2 million years. And then all of a sudden, this emerges on the scene. We start having these mutations. There was a lot of societies down there that would seem to worship aliens, and now we find out that there's a huge segment of the population that was up, and no one can explain it. After 2 million years of evolution with Rh positive and brown eyes and brown hair, we changed. We've come to the conclusion that somebody's definitely interfering in our society. They do seem to interfere with our population. The 3 major races that visit here are the 3 blood types we carry today. The Greys are the ones that instituted the Rh negative, probably brought O and O negative to us. The human aliens, from every description I've got from anybody who's been abducted, look somewhat like us, but their heads are deeper than ours are. They're taller than us, they're heavier than us, they have 6 fingers, 6 toes. They look a lot like us, but they don't even breathe the atmosphere because originally in the original Sumerian stories, they said they built 2 great white domed cities because they couldn't live in our atmosphere of our planet. That race created a subspecies of themselves, which created the subspecies of us. The Sumerian stories talk about the 7 creations of man, with the subspecies of us being the last creation. They would procreate. It became the aggressive race that's here today, us. Technically, we have all 3 of the alien races' blood in us. So eventually, one day in 100 million years, we're going to surpass them. Do you want the species that's here today in deep space more advanced than the 3 most advanced races in the galaxy? No, that's not what they want. They want us to be an equal race, but not a race that's going to go out and conquer and destroy. The Greys and the reptilians and humans said, uh-oh, we may have made a mistake here. And ever since then, they've been trying to correct it. For the most part, we really do think that it is to move us forward as a society. Everybody I know with Rh positive thinks, well, are we being left behind? I said, no, you're being bred out. There's a difference. And what I mean by that is you're not being left behind. Eventually, we're just going to breed ourselves out in a different type of species. More telepathic, probably more honest. Green and blue eyes and Rh negative is a mutation. It's not a naturally occurring thing in our body. Other than alien contact, no one can give me an explanation for where this came from, or why it's here, or why it's pushing so hard through our DNA in our life. It seems to be moving faster than it should be.
Do you want to know where to invest $1,000 right now? Well,
yeah, man, I'd like to know where to invest I'd like to know where to invest $1,000 right now. If I'm going to get 10,000 back in 30 seconds, I could go for that. Welcome everyone to UFO Undercover. I know, Jesse, no intro music tonight. Well, we'll play it. We'll play it. When we go to break. How's that? No, we just, running over. That's all. Well, it's 17 after, and I played that mine that us from the future coming back to fix us. So we're going to start with that. I think. Oh, Jay, how you doing, man? Just yapping away.
Yeah, no worries, man. I got in a little late, but I'm here.
That's good. That's okay. They so So a lot of people still do think that aliens are us from the future. Okay, that works. Then why is there so many different types?
Well,
Was our
I mean,
planet
I
was
think
our planet
maybe
invaded or something?
one possibility of there. So some of the computer models that have shown us if we evolved another 1,000 years or 100,000 years show us looking more like the gray type archetype. But there are 5 different species out there that are not Zeta Reticulans. The Zeta Reticulans are the main grays we talk about the most. But there are 4 other species out there that look strikingly similar, but are different species, different DNA, different levels of technology and whatnot. So maybe one of those 4 might be us from the future. But at this point, I think that the only research that I've gotten on that is just pure speculation. There's no evidence for it that I've seen or heard of.
Well, yeah, I thought about it because I have seen where we've run. I've actually seen where they've run progressions forward from the dinosaur era, and the raptors turn into what looks like rays. But I've also seen where they've run us to the future, and we look like rays. But recently, I was talking with it's about 8 months ago, 9 months ago. I was talking with this gentleman, and him and I got to talk about it. Now he's a scientist. I'm not going to mention his name, but he his biggest problem was not that there could be aliens or even time travel. He said, but Joe, he said, first off, he said, yeah, that might be us if we lived on Mars, not on Earth. He said the gravity on our planet, the planet's just going to get hotter and the gravity's just going to get worse. So he said we wouldn't become a species that would have less strength. We would maybe move more towards the reptilian side, but in a human feature. He said, he's talking about size-wise, because they're estimating when as we approach the I don't know about 1,000,000 years or 100 million years before we approach the red giant, before we approach the sun going red, that the gravity here should be 2, 3, even 4 times what it is today.
Yeah.
So anybody being born here would be a heavy worlder. So they wouldn't
Well,
look anything.
the reason you mentioned that, it's good that you mentioned it. Give me a second here. I got to get something down. I hurt my voice, so I'm a little I got a little laryngitis in there. I had an argument. I might not say we were arguing, more of a discussion with the Strongs, Evan and William Strong. They're out of Australia, and they're the guys that came up with the out of Australia theory and discovered some Egyptian runes, proto-Egyptian runes in Australia. Well, the discussion we were having was on the size of the planet. And they said the planet gets bigger and bigger every day. And I said, how? There's no way. We're not collecting. We don't have an accretion disk. The way the planets that were created was by accretion disk. Lots of material swirling around a central centrifuge, I guess, until it coalesced into the planet. And I'm like, well, how are we growing? And the fact is, and they won me over in the argument, we are hit every day with thousands and thousands of pieces of debris from outer space, rocks and ice and micrometeors and some of our own junk as well. All of that, all it does is it makes the planet slightly bigger, and every few thousand years all that material is going to make us another mile in diameter, another mile in diameter, and eventually the gravity will be too strong on this planet for us.
No, because we'll adapt as we go.
Yeah, we would adapt. Yeah,
the kids and the next kids and the next kids will all become heavy worlders. That's all. Their bone density will thicken.
What I'm saying is if we were to visit that planet in the future,
they would look like us, but they would be probably their muscles would probably be 3 or 4 or 5 times the magnitude of ours.
They would look more like our ancestors, the troglodytes and the cavemen. They had thick bones and strong muscles.
But there wasn't no indication that there was heavy gravity back then. They talked about that because it would have killed it. It would have been hell on all the reptilians. So they don't. I know they argue about a lot of this stuff because a lot of it is just what it is, just theories and hypotheses. But coming back from us to here, I don't know. Just something about that just doesn't feel. One, it doesn't feel like it would be a good thing to do. because now we're putting our future into someone else's hands that we don't really know, who they are, what they are, or what is their goal to outcome. Do they want to go back to looking like us instead of the scary, ugly gray? Why did they go from bones to cartilage? Well, that just tells you right there that's not what happened. Something else went on. I don't think they would have grazed if they did. And if they did become the gray, something seriously up to our planet. Something major must have happened. A major strike, something that shifted the gravity fields, the lightning fields, covered it in dust. Maybe a major strike that took away part of our mass and lightened our gravity field.
Well, I mean, we can see the damage. I mean, it's evident from the fifth planet forward. There's the rubble field, the asteroid field. It's a destroyed planet.
But I'm talking about what would cause us to look like a gray in the future. It would have to be something like that. It would have to be something that changed the gravity field of the planet and the lighting of the planet.
Yeah.
It's so that means a major strike that took away a chunk of the planet.
Or a major strike that added a chunk to the planet, which is what
no, because that would have made the gravity heavier, not lighter. Grays look like they come from a lighter world gravity than ours.
But that is the current working theory as to how the moon developed. I don't think it's correct, but it is the Velikovsky theory.
Oh, I've heard so many theories about how the moon. I forgot who it was. They took the moon's one of the moon ranges and flipped it over, and it fits perfectly into the Pacific Ocean. So a lot of people just think it broke off. It just pulled off the thing. So it just depends whose argument you want to go with. And then a lot of people think it's hollow.
Yeah.
So that suggests something else entirely different.
Well, number one, if it broke off, the rocks on the surface would be identical to those on Earth. And they are not. Different levels and different chemical makeup. So whatever is on the surface was chemically made somewhere outside of this solar system, or further out inside the solar system, but just not made here near the inner planets.
I was watching Voyager 1 and 2 today because they're way out. They're kind of in between. They're going into interstellar space now.
Mm-hmm.
But no one really expected there to be a buffer field at the end of our solar system. They all thought it was going to be a smooth transition, and no, it's not. It's actually, they found this plasma ribbons from our sun running through there. It's all kind of magnetic fields running all over, magnetic winds. And now they think that these ribbons, these plasma ribbons, could spiral out outside of our solar system. And like Vegas, if they were spiraling towards us, because Vegas, 3.6 light, and at that point, they would only be about a light year and a half away. So they're saying that the ribbons coming from them could be interconnected with us. And this is all because they're working on easier ways to develop panspermia people. So what they're telling you is if the plasma ribbons of Earth can mingle with the plasma ribbons of Vega, it could transfer life from one place to the other.
Wow.
That's getting into some deep stuff. People would maybe panspermia is a theory that the building blocks of life for Earth were brought from somewhere else and deposited here and developed here on our planet. Technically, Mars could technically be panspermia because the building blocks of Mars came here. I mean, however you want to look at it, but there's currently only three.
There are also two aspects of panspermia. There is the directed panspermia and the generic or general panspermia. General panspermia is that there is the building blocks of life spread throughout the galaxies and the universes, and eventually lands on a planet that it can spark life. Directed panspermia is an intelligence, a technology, or a civilization with technology develops a way to spread their DNA across the galaxy, and then directs it towards planets they think
panspermia. That's seeding planets, man. That's a whole different.
But it's also called generic. It's also called.
You could call it that, but it's really.
That's what they call it. Yeah,
I know, but it's really seeding plants. Anytime there's an intelligence, because panspermia is not supposed to have an intelligence behind it. That's the whole concept. See, the universe, they were trying to prove a concept that you did not have, because there's only three current concepts for life. There's God put us here, panspermia put us here, aliens put us here. So science was trying to come up with a way to leave both of those others out, aliens and God. They wanted a way that life could have evolved throughout the universe without the help of an extraterrestrial or a higher entity. That's what it was actually about. Actually, if you haven't listened to the guy give his dissertation on it, that's what he says. He's like, this is what this is about, because he said he always, even a lot of his professors would tell him, "Well, God put us here." He's like, "You sure about that, right?" so always, it's a great theory, though. It really is. What do you mean aliens perceive? Yeah, there's a current theory that aliens put us here.
Yes.
Either aliens put us here, or by some coincidence, a exploding planet, or crashing spacecraft, something else, somehow or other. Any way it goes, they think alien life is deposited here. Now, there's two scientists out of Egypt that says that they think that the Martians knew they were dying, but the Martians couldn't get here. So the Martians shot their DNA here along with other types of animals and plants to help seed this planet and get it to grow faster. Because what we're not taking into consideration is the catastrophe happened 55 or 65 million years ago. So that's a whole different thing. There's already life on this planet.
Yeah.
So we always think that there was an accident, that it was Venus, the fifth planet, Venus, Mars, and Earth, all something happened at the same time. But it's looking maybe like it didn't happen to Earth. It was intentional. A start over. Get rid of the dinosaurs in favor of a different type of life.
Yeah. I've always speculated that because, how do the Hopi know about, we didn't know about the Great Flood. Well, I mean, not the Great Flood, but the Chicxulub explosion, which also would have caused the flood. But that's the event we tie to killing off the last faction of dinosaurs. And the Hopi know about this. How the hell do they know about it? Somebody told them. Somebody who witnessed it from above or far many years in the past.
Well, there's so many things on this planet that we have to wonder how the ancients got their fingers on those kind of pieces of information, other than it was given to them by somebody else that had foreknowledge of this.
Yeah. Well, but also I think not only foreknowledge, I think the directed destructions, and there are 4 or 5 of them that the Hopi know of. I think that each one of them was directed to extinct certain levels of creatures, so that they had a base to get smaller and smaller. There's, what do they say? The Hopi was we were destroyed 4 times, once with fire, once with water, once with something else, and then the next one coming up is supposed to be fire.
Yeah, next is supposed to be fire. Yeah, so 3 other things and then fire. Fire is supposed to be the last, the cleansing, when all the evil is thrown into the pit and sent on its way.
So, but it's quite easily possible that a highly advanced alien species with knowledge of physics and quantum physics and the technology they have, they could easily direct a meteor or an asteroid to the largest body of water and just cleanse the whole land repeatedly.
Well, it looks like they did a double take. So where they originally sent it was a lot of water, but it also hit a lot of land. So not only did it make a steam bath across the whole planet, but it actually did physically throw up a lot of debris that kept it dark here for a while. Because the water wouldn't have been enough to keep it dark for years. That would have fell out of the atmosphere pretty quickly.
Water vapor wouldn't last. Dirt and debris and smoke would.
So I think it was kind of a dual thing. I don't know, Jesse. Could have triggered. I'm sure it triggered an ice age. I have no doubt about that.
Yeah, most certainly. And
how long it lasted, that's anybody's guess. I mean, ice ages are weird. I don't know.
Well, also, we could probably speculate, Joe, that the Greys, being, would just guesstimate, a billion-year-old society, they've probably watched an entire planet and or solar system form, grow, become life, spawn life, and then eventually the star goes nova and it all is all destroyed. I'll bet you they know those mechanics inside out and backwards and can easily replicate them at any point. They could easily create their own solar systems at will. And who's to say they didn't create this solar system with their technology? We don't know. It's way away from all the other solar systems.
Well, when it's funny you said that, because when I was looking at it today, so it's interesting the way our solar system is. So you got our sun, and everything between the asteroid belt and the sun is clean. It's pristine up in there. There's not hardly anything in there. You get the moons. Every now and then something strays through. Not much. And then you've got the middle planets. And then you get the outer planets. And then you've got yet another massive asteroid ring. So it's almost like there's safety features in our solar system. So you got the Oort cloud, which will pick up anything coming in from outer space of any size. Really, it'll pretty much either stop it or slow it down considerably.
Right.
And then if that doesn't get it, you've got Saturn, Neptune, Jupiter, Uranus, which will easily suck up anything that gets closer.
All four of the large gas planets are specifically. I think that's exactly what they are. I think they're satellites designed to suck in, stray bodies.
I mean, look at the amount of moons Jupiter and Saturn have. It's ridiculous.
265, I believe, at last count for Saturn. And
it's amazing they're not running into each other.
They have 300 planets between the two of them going around them. Jupiter and Saturn.
Yeah, so I mean, it's in Marky. Yeah, actually, Saturn and Jupiter produce heat. They do produce some light, but they produce more heat.
Jupiter and Saturn both actually produce light, not on the level of the sun, but they do produce light. And I think Uranus does to a degree, but not Venus, or vice versa. One of them does, and one of them doesn't.
So the point is any of those little moonlets and moons, you would call them little planets, could be having life on them or getting life on them. Yeah, well, it's
three of those planets / moons we know are excellent candidates for, if not having already, spawning life very soon. Io, Europa, and what's the other one that starts with an E?
Anacles, Ecclesias, whatever it's called.
One of them's on Saturn, two of them around Jupiter.
So total right now that I can think of in the solar system, there's 7 bodies.
And Enceladus.
Pretty sure. Yeah. So they're pretty sure there's life. Now, recently, I said this when I started hosting Wake Up USA. I actually said it before, but it's the first time I said it publicly. That there's probably life on Mars. I would bet money that there's a nematode or a rat or something on Mars.
I think they'll find bacteria or.
Now you know how it's already bigger than that. So this is an easy one. You can do this on Google Maps, but NASA also has it too. So you can go check out the ice caps. This is very interesting, and even NASA.
Oh, algae, yeah.
So they're pretty sure that's algae plumes. Well, if there's algae growing, more than likely there's some type of insect or bug, water bug living inside of it. You could pretty much take that to the bank.
Well, we also know from research in the both Arctic and Antarctic that there are a type of worm. It's I think they call them black worms. They're deadly, I do believe, to human life, but they live in the ice, inside the frozen water. So it's very possible there's things living in the frozen water on Mars, 100%.
But it don't even have to be frozen because Mars has seasons. And the ice caps melt, which means it gets warm enough for those ice caps to melt, which means there's plenty of times for things to breed and pop up. I wouldn't doubt they find some type of little insects or whatever. I wouldn't even doubt they found something that eats those, some type of mammal. They're just not going to find a lot of them. But so recently there was a study done of all the water places, all the rivers they think were on the surface of Mars, and any of the big bodies. So they're thinking, because they know some of this water went off the planet, but like any planet, some of that water went underground.
Yeah, it is not all of the water was taken away. The speculation that I support for that is Velikovsky's theory. This is not his moon theory. This is a different theory, and this theory actually is written about in the book, the Bible. There's I don't know which chapter, but one of the stories has the 40 days of darkness. The sun didn't come up for like a month and a week. Well, his speculation is that the reason the sun was blocked out was because the planet Venus was scooting through the inner planets, and on its way, its gravity destroyed the 5th planet, It came so close to Mars that it sucked off the atmosphere and the water and probably most of the ground life, plants and trees and whatever was living and walking around on it, and took it off as kind of like a comet plume. So the water of Mars and its atmosphere are trailing behind Venus. And so then Venus also comes close enough to Earth that its gravity doesn't affect Earth, but the plume passes right over Earth. So all the atmosphere, oxygen, dirt, trees, and water of Mars impacts Earth, which also tilts it off of its axis 27 degrees.
Yeah, well, time.
A wild theory. I mean, it really is.
Yeah, well, timelines are all pretty bad too, so it'd be a hard one. And mainly this, the planet between Mars and Jupiter was 5 times the size of Earth. It would have crushed Venus. Easily would have crushed Venus. Venus is the size we are.
I didn't say it was a correct theory. I just said
I'm just telling you why they got these. But you know what? In all fairness, when he thought that up, I bet you they didn't know what the mass of the asteroid belt was yet.
They probably did not. And it's just 1953, 1950, 51, 2, somewhere around there where he writes this book.
Jimmy Lee, where are you from? Oh, Nashville. I'm sorry, I should have remembered you. The debris field between Mars and Jupiter is about 5.5 times the size of Earth if it was a planet. And originally they bitched. Yeah, originally the theory was it was just a debris field. It wasn't a planet. It never coalesced into a planet, which they couldn't understand why, but it just never did. And then we got more advanced satellites and more advanced telescopes, and we realized we started finding metals and materials that don't form like that. They have to be inside of a compressed object.
And then those metals take millions, hundreds of millions of years actually to form. So the planet was a planet for a very long time.
Oh, yeah, it technically until modern recent times, which would be in the last 50 or 60 million years, it was probably a planet. Whatever it was that screwed up Venus, screwed up Earth, screwed up Mars was probably what killed. Unless it was what the cause was. And in all fairness, it could have been the cause for everything.
But Venus is not native to our solar system. I'd like to point that out. It's not. It rotates differently. It rotates. It goes around the sun the same as the other planets. But all of our planets, from not counting Venus, all the planets from Mercury all the way out to even the protoplanets out by the Oort cloud, they all rotate counterclockwise. Venus goes clockwise, which means
maybe when it was passing that 5th planet, it stopped its rotation and started going the other way. That's probably what killed the damn planet.
Well, it indicates that it may have also formed in another solar system that rotates counter to ours. We know that up here, water goes clockwise down the drain. You go below the border, and it goes counterclockwise down the drain. So if that's happening here on Earth, it happens out there. If we have planets that go clockwise, we have planets that go counterclockwise. And the evidence is in our solar system. We have 9 planets. Well, okay, 8 planets that go counterclockwise and 1 that goes clockwise. One of these things doesn't fit. It doesn't belong. It's not from the solar system. It's a visitor. And they speculate, like you said, about it. Maybe it reversed. They think that's what's happening now. They think Venus is starting to slow down and match our planet. So they think it will eventually stop and rotate the other way, which if that happens, the atmosphere will go whoop, and any life that's on it will be dead in instants. In an instant.
Well, it depends on the pressure. If it's a heavy pressure, it may keep at least part of its atmosphere.
It is very high pressure. We dropped, what was it? Not Voyager. Pioneer. It was Pioneer 1, I think, was the first one, and it was crushed within 7
I know Russia had more luck with Venus than we did.
That's what I'm thinking. I think it was the Russians. I think it was called Pioneer 1, and it went 700 feet, not miles, 700 feet into the upper atmosphere, and it crushed and just was destroyed.
Yeah, they've had a couple hits of service and last all of about 80 seconds and shit. It's a very hostile planet, people. It's what Earth would be global warming.
100 million years ago, something like that.
Climate change, yes. So Oh, I love screwing with scientists, and you know that. So a while back, about 3 decades ago, they had made a thing, a forecast, and they were talking about the outer planets may have been getting warmer. Well, all the planets may have been getting warmer, but they never said anything about Earth. And then here comes climate change, and all of a sudden it's man-made, but man can't cause the other 7 planets to have climate change. Unfortunately, we don't have that kind of impact.
Other
Give us
negative.
10,000 years or so, and maybe so, but not right now. So if they're getting warm, it would only make sense that we're getting warm. And so what's causing that? So there's a couple of theories out there. One of them is, in a billion years, we'll all be dead. There won't be oxygen left on the planet. The sun is burning away the carbon on the planet. So, so wait a minute. This is even more confusing to me. So we don't want carbon in the atmosphere because it's bad for us, but yet the sun's burning it all away. Shouldn't we be replenishing it? We're going to talk about this more in depth on Friday because I can't curse in this show. But but no, people, I'm serious, because there's a lot of things that were put out there initially about different things will cause different things to get warm, and there is a thing about the other planets getting warm. So it only makes sense if Mars and Jupiter are getting warmer than we should be. Whatever's causing it. Now, there's a big new theory that in less than a billion years we'll all be dead because the sun will burn off all the carbon on our planet, and we won't. Not us, the animals won't be able to survive. Ain't that there's some BS going on around here? First off, we tell us don't put that in the atmosphere; it's bad for you, even though it does make planets and things more lush. If you travel back in time, 50, 60 million years, 70 million years, you'll notice that the particular thing we're talking about that it's bad for the planet today was very heavy in the atmosphere back then. Very heavy. But it's one of the reasons plant life was so lush. It always cracks me up when they say, well, it's going to kill all the planet. The plants, bullshit. It's going to make the plants more lush. Dude, this is like basic chemical 101 or something.
Yeah.
Well, no, Jim, there's carbon dioxide and there's carbon monoxide. There's two.
Carbon monoxide is from usually mechanical devices like your car and the stuff that we breathe out. You can tell the difference between them. One is made by biological processes and one by mechanical. And we found 2 planets that have what we would consider smog. One is of a biological type of exhaust gases. That's the planet Venus. And then I don't remember which one. It's a Gliese number, I think, the other planet. And it's they have detected, what did they call it? I can't remember the exact phrase, but something to do with the technological exhaust, something of that effect.
Anyway, they think there's life there.
Yeah.
That's the short form of it. That they think there's life there. They think they have found at least 2 planets outside the solar system that probably have life. And they're not talking about your little puppy dog or some nematode. They're talking about life that are making what? They're creating things. They're building things because they're using machines that are polluting their atmosphere that we can actually see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which one thing good about this, however far away they are, because I don't know, I'm pretty sure it's like something like this. That means they're on the same technological level as we are. Well, okay, let me rephrase that. Everything we're seeing is 120 years old. So that means that 120 years ago, they were produced. Well, that's where we were at the turn in 1900s. We were just coming into the industrial age, right? Yeah. So see, they might even be somebody just around our technological level.
25 years ago, we were transitioning from steam to hydrocarbon or fluorocarbon. What is it? The gas you call it, whatever the gas is, to that kind of propellant. Much more powerful propellant.
Conspiracies. Heidi, we'll take you when we go to the moon. We'll take you with us. We'll take you out there. Let you have a look around. Neil said it was a cool place, except for the alien said don't come back.
Yeah, I mean,
no, Jeffrey. You know what? We're gonna get into that. Let me give Jay this link there, the one I'm working off of. The way I'm doing this, let me get this link. Well, no, I'll put it in whoever's out there. If you're in one of the chat rooms, you'll be able to see the same link that we're working off of. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, look, it's cute. I put the little chat box up in here.
Oh, I can't click on that. Can you drop it in private chat? Then I can open it.
Yeah, hold on. I'll send it to you. I've never. So I turn this. Let me see if I can turn it off. Oh yeah, look at that. It's so cute. I didn't know you
Yeah, I
could
was looking at how did you do that?
It's got a little button up here, apparently. Wait, let me go to private chat. Give this to Jay right quick. Comments.
Oh, it's got to be in here for that.
Private chat.
Oh,
You
yeah.
found it up there?
That's cool. That's cool.
So, all right, you got it. It's in private chat. So, ladies and gentlemen, we just had a lot of stuff we wanted to talk about because I played that first link on time travel, so I didn't want to just leave people hanging, on the time travel. The blood type study I talk about a lot, so unless you're a newbie, you'll have some idea of what I'm talking about. Yes. And if not, I will talk about it. I'll probably talk about it some tonight, but it's something we talk about a lot on the network because it's crucial.
That what?
So let me see. Let me go find this.
Sorry, but that second paragraph right there is pure hog. You know what?
Well, read it to them and tell them what it is. So now, when I put this up there, if y'all notice, when I put the title up here in the show, I did say if we agree. Will we agree?
Yeah.
Is what I said.
If we agree.
Because I don't, Betty and Bunny Hill I've rewritten twice completely. Nobody's got a better handle on it than I do. But hey, if they want to argue with me, that's what radio and TV and lectures, and that's what the world's about. What UFO conference would I say?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude, don't ask me that. No, don't ask me that. You'll get me in trouble.
Do you want me to
nice to Joe? Because if you ask, I'm going to have to answer. So just.
Do you want me to read these first two paragraphs?
Yeah, go ahead. Read away.
On September 20th, 1961, Betty and Barney Hill were driving through the White Mountains of New Hampshire when they said a bright light came out of the sky. 2 hours later, they were back in their driveway with no memory of what had happened or where they'd been. Number one, I believe that's bullshit. Honkery. According to their subsequent reports, the couple had traveled to Zeta Reticuli, a star system 39 light years from Earth. That part's true. Betty was even inexplicably able to draw an accurate, detailed map of the sky as seen from that star. Both of those paragraphs are complete hogwash.
Well, and under hypnosis, she said the ship never left the ground.
A, and B, they woke up 2 hours later driving down the road,
yes,
in their driveway.
Yes, they did.
But they were never taken to Zeta Reticuli. What happened there was Betty was shown a pull down map like we had in schools back in the 50s and 60s. Maps that were on like the type of thing you have on a shade on your window. It rolls down and it stays. You touch it again and it rolls back up. That's what she saw. She drew that later on, and that was actually an unidentified solar system, which we identified in 1982 or 3 or 4 or 87. I don't know, somewhere in the 80s. We identified what she drew as being on Zeta Reticuli looking towards Earth. That's the map she drew.
The map I've always had big issues with. So I try to leave it alone as much as I can. I mean, it's hard to sometimes, but
there's no denying the accuracy of that. I mean, the drawing she did was rather crude.
But it's not even that, because I asked her what was the point of origin. How did you get the point of origin if you weren't there?
Yeah, she wasn't. She never was. She was never on.
I was like, I said, Bill, you got to have a point of origin. She said, and I said, you're not drawing. I said, you said it yourself. You weren't drawing from Earth. You were drawing from there to here, which I was like, what? I said, you'd have been better saying you. And I said, and then what's her name pissed me off because she goes, oh, that matches some stars in the sky. I said, sweetie, I could put some dots on a piece of paper and rotate it around until it matches some stuff in the sky. I said, do you know how many stars in the freaking sky?
Yeah, it was impossible until they made there was an Apple program because Apple was like the first really popular and fast production computer in the 80s. So some really smart people got together and put all the stars that they had cataloged into a computer base, and then they extrapolated from that with her drawing if anything matched up, and something did, and they're identical. But what she saw was data from Majestic 12. It was a MyLabs. MyLabs showed her something they shouldn't have shown her.
But we don't even know if that's what it was. That's the problem. We don't know how much anything had been moved or changed. You know, Betty, as she got older, some of her stuff changed. And I noticed Kathleen Maldron took some creative license with her book.
Yeah.
She said, she talked about digital screens. I wonder
I'll be right back.
But they never said anything about digital screens in any of their hypnosis sessions or any of the in the book or anything. They talked about pull down. When Betty said, when I was listening, I was actually listening to a radio interview in 71, 72. And I was just a kid, by the way. And I heard us talking about pull down maps, and I forgot who was sitting in the room. I looked at him and said, pull down maps on an alien spacecraft. And it just, even then, it didn't register in my brain. No way, maybe in a human thing. So as I got older and got into the field in my late 20s and early 30s, I started to realize that, okay, pull down map, flopping stainless steel doors, needles and razor blades for scraping and taking fluid samples, little jars for collecting fluid. That's not alien. That's C to C back in the 60s is what that was. Oh, yeah. So that probably was our very first military abduction. Now, Kathleen Maldron got mad at me when I released it because it was like, well, no, that's not how. I said, no, that's exactly what it was. I said the abduction happened in Canada. I said the government was aware of the abduction in Canada and waited till a good place in New Hampshire. You know, there's nothing out there. It was a good place to snatch them when they came back. I said he describes them as four men, black boots, black jeans, black shirts, and black duck-billed caps. Does that sound like any alien you've ever heard? Oh no, that sounds like maybe special forces or somebody.
Or Men in Black.
Yeah, or maybe the original Men in Black. Who knows? But it damn wasn't no aliens. So this whole thing was not alien. And then they said they shot this thing down. It sounded like they tasered the car from the ship. Is what it sounded like. Not alien technology. None of what they describe as alien technology.
Mm-mm.
And when you listen to the hypnosis, Betty's not the one that freaks out. Barney is.
Yeah.
He flips out hard a couple of times.
He loses it. I mean, literally.
You know, I gotta find out what computer. I don't even know if they're on a computer. They're probably on an external drive. But I've got them somewhere. I keep everything.
And how old was Barney? He was in his 30s?
Yeah, you know, and there's a lot of weird stuff with Barney. So here's a guy, young black man, marries a white woman. One of his good friends is a white colonel from the Air Force Base.
Yeah.
Okay, nothing wrong with it. I'm not hating people, but this is 1961.
Very different viewpoint.
It's not 2011 we're talking about. This is 1961.
People were openly racist still.
If you were black and alive, you know damn good well what I'm talking about. And he was interracially married, which guarantee you pissed off all kind of people.
Let's repaint that. He was interracially married in an extremely white community in Connecticut. There were very few black people even today in Connecticut.
Yeah, it's so. I mean, here's this guy. Like I said, he's friends with a colonel. Now he's seeing a psychologist when he was young. For whatever reasons, you know, he had been seeing one on and off. That's how the government found out. You know, maybe it was a school counselor, but that's how the government found out that he was being taken because he told somebody. And then all of a sudden, he had like 4 colonels as friends. I mean, a colonel is one step before a general.
Yeah.
You know, pretty much your next promotion is going to be a general or whatever, brigadier or something like that.
Or you're going to retire.
Pretty much, if you're a full bird colonel, you're pretty much got as much power as the generals do.
Hell, even if you're a half bird colonel, if you're a lieutenant colonel, you're making some bucks. You're way up there. At the
Now
Colonel,
here they are. Yeah, now this is 4 white guys. Here they are, friends with a black guy, an interracial couple, who said they saw a UFO.
Yeah.
Or actually, they said they were taken by a UFO. And they're all good friends with him. And wait, he gets invited to the White House.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he was a postman. Yeah, he worked for the post office. He was a postman.
But he was ex-military.
Yeah. Yes, he was. So, well, I heard he was a good guy. I never got to talk to him. He died well before I ever got into the field.
But he died very young too, by the way. Very, very young.
No, well, Betty would never let it go. And then a couple of her friends got really mad at me because I said publicly more than once I didn't think she was a contact too. You know, and I said,
I'd have to agree with that assessment 100%.
And I said the assessment, and I said the evidence proves that she's not. And they're like, well, I said, no. I said, it's not that hard to prove. I said, I don't want to be mean to her. That's why I never interviewed her. I interviewed a couple of her friends, but I wouldn't interview her because I just didn't want to be mean to her because it was too easy to prove that she wasn't one. She was just living off of it. And you know, and mainly because there was nothing really else going on.
Yeah,
Barney was having regular contact.
Yeah. Of the two, not to diss on Betty, but Barney seemed the more intelligent of the two. And not that she wasn't. I don't think she was the same level of intelligence as he was. I think he worked in intelligence in the military, so he knows some things. But she was a very simple woman. She didn't, have flights of fancy or fantasy. She was a high school teacher. I think she taught math or English, one of the two. But she was a very nice, simple, low, well-spoken, but, not outspoken person. She wasn't, the life of the party, but she was a fun person, if that makes sense.
It's, what's up, Jimmy? She was just, like I said, I don't think she was a contactee.
I don't think so.
It's a personal thing, and people get mad at me for this all the time. You're hating them. This is first off, I'm not hating anybody. Secondly, I'm telling the true story, which all researchers should be interested in the truth. Even when you find a case that was handled wrongly, you should be wanting to change the case into what it's supposed to be, and to this was not handled correctly. It was bad. The investigation was done poorly. And really and truly, there was never a real investigation on Betty and Barney. You had Dr. Simons, who was doing the hypnosis work, but he wasn't so much doing an investigation. He was, when you listen to his work, there was a few ufology people kind of talked to him, but there was just no real investigation done. The more you dig into it, the less you find about it. So it was kind of sad, but who was there to investigate this in 1960?
Nobody. Dr. Simons was the foremost authority in hypnotic regression, and I think they were using it in Freudian ways to find childhood trauma that was impacting an adult life. But when they found out that about Barney, I don't know what the emphasis was, what they were trying to figure out. But the work went. This was at Boston University, I believe. And he was the chair of the psychiatry department. And then he eventually passed his work down to John Mack, who worked with Barney and Betty until he passed. And John Mack kept going. And he's interviewed thousands of people or more. Yeah. And he came to the conclusion that whatever it is that these people are experiencing is not fantasy. It's 100% real in this time continuum. 3D creatures are messing with these people. So that's phenomenal information, and he's made a lot of books. You can read all kinds of stuff on abduction that John Mack and Dr. Simons started in '61.
Yeah, there was just in the end, I don't think Simons thought it was an alien abduction, but
no, because he passed very soon after starting this with the Hills, and then that's when Mack took over. But he was Simons's protege. He was into the psychiatry department as a teacher at that point before he took over the case.
It's It's just so much vagueness. There was so many things just should have been asked that weren't asked. And later on, when you asked Betty, you had to ask Betty.
It's the first case. I mean, they didn't know what to ask. I mean, it would be like if you were the first person to come on a murder scene, 100 million years ago, when the first creature and the first person murdered another human. You would, what would you ask? Who did this? What happened? Where's the bad guy? You don't know what to ask.
I know, Claire, it was strange. The Hill case was a strange case because, it was basically so the original story. So first time I heard him talk, and they were talking about it. The host asked him, "Well, where were you?" He said, "We were in such and such Canada." And he said, "But we didn't know that at the time because we couldn't remember where we stayed or where we ate." He said, "So that morning we left the hotel, which was across the street from the restaurant we ate at. But neither one of us could remember the name of the hotel or the restaurant, which was odd. But everything was paid for in cash." He said, "Later that day we headed home. We're lost. We stopped for directions." Barney said, "We stopped and I asked this nice black Irish cop, the skinny black Irish cop, this black cop, how to go." And Betty said it was a chunky white Irishman.
Yeah.
That's how she described it. Now, before anybody says anything, they're talking about the same person. He's saying it's black, skinny black guy, and she's saying it's a fat Irish cop. She didn't even say it was a cop. She didn't say it was a fat Irishman. Barney said it was a cop. And what the hell were they seeing? Obviously not the same person. So that was probably when the abduction was going on anyway. Probably when they thought they were having breakfast, all of that, the hotel, all of that was probably just a cover.
It was something else that you'd said that and I had been looking into this case, off and on, not nearly in as depth as you did, but I read as many books as I could and watched as many DVDs and documentaries and what have you. But hey, Mike.
Hello, gentlemen. Hello. How are you,
guys?
We're good.
Not too bad. We're just talking about Betty and Barney Hill, right?
Betty and Barney Hill. But the thing you brought up, when I was in high school, when they had this interview on TV, and Betty describes the map that we were talking about earlier, the map of Zeta Reticuli star system looking in the direction of Earth. And she said, well, the man, and she didn't say alien, but she was talking about her alien abduction. She says, the man pulled the screen down and showed me a map and then rolled it back up.
Yep.
And then you reminded me about that, and I was like, when I was in high school, and then the next day in school, I remember seeing that. And I was like, why would aliens have a screen like that? And then I couldn't have a puzzle on. Years later, that pull down screen in Betty's story turned into a window that you touched on. A panel on the wall that you touched, it turned into a window or it turned into that map that you could see.
Yeah, that's Kathleen Baldwin did that, actually.
Her story gets grandiose and bigger each decade as you go along. The core of the story in 1961, that's the reality of what happened, I believe. But 71 it gets bigger, 70, 80 gets bigger, and 90 gets bigger until she passed away. I don't think that she ever met an alien creature. She may have encountered them when they have, telepathically turned her brain off while they were abducting her husband, but she never saw one while she was awake.
Yeah, no, she was just
never saw one.
The only one she described was weird. She said the guy had a nose like, the little short, chunky guy used to be an actor. I can't think of his name. He had a freaking monster nose. But anyway, she said he looked
Mrs.
like
Mrs. Calabash.
Yeah, he said he looked that guy. He said he looked like that's how he looked. But
hey, Google, who is famous for saying "Good night, Mrs. Calabash"?
You said "F you, buddy." I have no idea what she does. Speak English, man. Speak Google English, man. Oh man. Oh, I don't know, man. I'm on full screen, so I got to get out of full screen and look around. Oh yeah, we are past the top of the hour.
8:07.
Yeah, we're gonna let me see what's next on this list. Oh, we're just touching into Betty and Barney Hill. This is a big list. We'll never get through all this list tonight, but I can't even get past
Jimmy
Betty
Durante.
That's him, Jimmy Durante. That's him.
Good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are.
That's how she
They
describes
called him the Schnoz. That was his nickname, the Schnoz. Big, huge nose.
Anyway, that's who she was trying to say was an alien, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what struck me. I mean, she always called them the man. She's like, the man put a needle in me, and then I said it hurt, and then he touched my forehead, and it stopped hurting.
Yes, because your ass went out. Gave you some good drugs. We're going to take a quick break, ladies and gentlemen. Then we're going to come back. We're going to talk about the 1969 Berkshire UFO incident that shocked the entire town. I don't know. This one sounds a little sketchy, but this was in '69. So many of the good ones were in the '60s and '70s. You people. What was that? The Lost Generation? Who was before
the LSD generation?
Yeah, but who was before the baby booms? Because this wasn't the baby booms report. This was a generation before that.
Yeah, sure. Hey, Google, what generation came before baby boomers?
Lost Generation. Who is the Lost Generation?
The Silent Generation. On the website LibGuide.
Oh, the Silent Generation. I forgot about them because they're the Silent Generation.
Yeah, the Silent Generation.
Because they were silent anyway, so there was a silent. Obviously, they weren't that silent.
They were really good at it, though.
Yes, they were good at telling stories. That's for sure, man. That's for sure. But we'll be right back. We're going to take a quick break, probably about 5 minutes. I want you to stay tuned to UFO Undercover and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network. Yes, this really is United Public Radio, but when we're on UFO Undercover, we are on UFO Paranormal Radio Network. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. We'll get a... What do you mean smoke weed? I don't care if you smoke. We smoke your little brains out. It doesn't matter to me. It's not like you blowing it in my house. You just smoke weed. That was too much, man. It was just funny, dude. I'm sorry. But anyway, we'll be right back. So stay tuned.
Welcome to Negotiating Happiness, the show that helps you find happiness, success, and balance in your work and life. I'm Adriana Fiestra, your host for this journey into entrepreneurship and personal growth. We're broadcasting live on 107.7 and 105.3 FM in New Orleans as part of the United Public Radio Network. We explore the latest strategies, insights, and stories from successful entrepreneurs and experts. From managing stress to building a thriving business, we've got you covered.
Yeah, baby, don't you like that? Sorry.
You're listening to UFO Undercover with your host, Joe Montaldo, right here on the Paranormal Radio Network.
I had enough.
Well, you drove out there into the middle of nowhere and had some sort of loud verbal display challenging ET in general out in the middle of nowhere?
That's what I was doing. I actually had a pistol in my hand at the time. I was really ticked off. When I was having this fit, I was waving the gun in the air, okay, and I had this fit. And at this moment, I said, okay.
He was a Louisiana man named Montaldo. Folks around called him Six Gun Joe. Worked with ICAR, don't you know? Investigating UFOs. Out for a drive with a gal one night, they stopped to check out the reporting site. When an alien lit right there on the ground, he commenced to throwing his weight around. Now, old Six Gun didn't take too kindly to that kind of thing, especially without Vaseline or anything like that, you know. Seriously. Well, Six Gun looked that critter right in the eye and said, "Any last wish before you die?" Yo, reached for his gun, quick as a twitch, and said, "Fill your claw, you son of a bitch." Now a legend spread across the land about this pistol-waving man. But if you're from space or from Earth below, you don't give no lip to Six Gun Joe.
Yeah, bing, bong, boom, boom, bing. Welcome back, you weirdos. Hope everybody's been enjoying the show. I'm calling them weirdos, not you people listening. Just these people here with me. I hope y'all are all having a good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are on our big, beautiful blue planet. I like to call it Terra, but y'all can call it whatever the hell you want. I don't care.
I like to call it Saw 3 because that's what we are on the.
Saw 3 is cool
universe.
too. I can do Saw 3 too. So Saw is our son, people.
I kind of like, and I don't know if we adapted this from the aliens gave it to us or it's our coming, but we came up with it. But our planet is Saw 3, and the moon is Saw 3A, lowercase a. That's our.
The
our
moon is all this. I mean, I can't put that on. You asked me on Friday about the moon. Stephanie, what do you mean? What am I? Oh, because Stephanie, because I host this show, which is
not only catchy, Heidi, it's Latin.
Yeah, this show is PG-13, and Arthur's Quill is PG-13. So I can't really curse on these shows. Science and Beyond is PG-13 too. But news on the flip side, I do curse on. But even though I'm cutting it down because I want to monetize it, but the chat is just like every third word is a curse word. Oh no, Jay's well behaved. I'm the one being a you know what.
Yeah, we can't stop the F bombs from Joe. It's boom bam bam boom boom.
You like that song? You know that song was written specially for me. That Ian wrote that for me a long time, many well before I even had a radio show.
Many moons ago.
He wrote that for me. And then, well, actually, no, that's not true. I was hosting Wake Up USA when he wrote it for me. And he heard me talking about a particular incident one night. That whole thing you listened to is about a particular incident that happened to me one night. And he wrote the song. He wrote the song being an ass. Yes, he was being. And it was so funny because this big group of people. Joe, you're gonna be so mad. You're gonna be so mad. I'm like, about what? And they're like, I'm pretty easy going. It's hard to make me mad. So I forgot who it was. I think it's David or anyway. I forgot who it was. They sent it over, and I get it, and I turn on, and I'm busting. I'm literally busting out, laughing my ass off. Hey, Leah. I mean, I can't stop laughing. So I actually picked up the thing, found out where he lived in the UK, called him and said, "Ian, can I use the song as my opener?" He said, "Wow, you got a sense of humor. We've been friends ever since." Well, back when I was younger, I could be how can I say this? Egotistical. Yes. I mean, come on. My very first show I ever did, I got into a fight with a guest. Come on. And I won that fight because I was right and he was wrong. Asshole Jerry Black, whatever his name was. So, welcome everyone. So, where are we, Jay? What case? When you just missed Betty and Barney Hill, Leah, we were just talking about how the hills were. Where are we? We are on the Berkshire case.
The number 2 is Berkshire's 1969. I don't know, where are the Berkshires?
No, that's September. It just says
1969 Berkshire's UFO incident. Well, where are the Berkshires? I have no idea.
It says Massachusetts. Yeah, it says Massachusetts. So this is another one in September. This is also in 69. Just 69 has such a good ring about it. Anyway, moving on. So where are we on this case? Well, I mean, what is this about? Question: residents spotted lights above Sheffield in the southern Berkshire. Many of the witnesses said the lights were fitted.
Berkshire.
All right, damn Yankee. You can read it. You can read it, right? Send his ass the link now, Michael. I mean,
Yankee style, Berkshire.
Hey, that's right. Speaking Yankee talk.
The link for the page we're looking at, we're on page 2 of it, is in the private chat, Michael. You should still be there. You should be able to see it.
Let's see. Thomas Reed was 9 years old at the time. Oh, this was a Thomas Reed case? Well, I didn't recognize this as Thomas Reed. I must have forgot all about Tom. We need to call him and get him on the show. 9-year-old at the time in the car with his mother, brother, grandmother.
That's the page
we're on. The family noticed a group of glowing orbs dashed out to the roadside trees. Man, I mean, Tom and I talked a lot back in the day. I mean, I haven't done guests in like 4 years, but still, I guess I need to start doing guests again.
Yeah, he was 9, so that would put him 3 years
old. He's got to be in his 50s now, at least.
No, 62.
Oh, he's just a baby then. All right.
Closer to your age, bud.
Yeah. That's Michael's age. I'm 48. I don't know what the hell you got.
Michael's younger than me.
I'm 35.
I'm 48. I don't know what the hell y'all talking about. Yeah, y'all is doing that drugs again. Leah's old.
Is
She's
this
like 69.
is this news on the flip side, or is this UFO Undercover?
UFO Undercover Wednesday night.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
PG-13.
I have a question for you guys.
Oh my God, what is it?
Uh-oh. What do you think of Whitley Strieber's account? Do you think it's fictional? Do you think that it was just to write the book? Communion?
No, I think he's a legitimate experiencer. Yes, I think he really was taken. I think he still is being taken.
What do you think, Joe?
I don't talk about Whitley.
Yeah. Whitley has gotten
Whitley don't like
really strange. I mean, that's weird coming from someone who does this strangeness here. I think he's gone off the deep end. Yeah.
As owner of the network, I'm not allowed to talk about
I've always thought
But
he's
you
a nice
know
guy.
what? He was on the other Sean. I forgot Sean's last name. He was on the other Sean show just a couple weeks ago. Yeah, on Patrick Hadley. You could listen to Sean's show. He was on there talking. They talked about poetry and all sorts of stuff.
I was just curious.
I was like, just throw me up to the. I lost Whitley. In all fairness, I lost Whitley when he started talking about his son as the second coming.
Oh wow!
That was it for me. That was pretty much whether he was telling the truth, lying didn't matter anymore at that point. I just you know when you start saying stuff like that and you go into public speaking, it leaves you open for shots that really you shouldn't want to put yourself open to. So what first question would have been, well, what are your son the second coming of? Walmart?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, and I liked Whitney, and I had issues. See, I always felt Whitley was that his cover memory capped open, or maybe he got Millab and it popped open. But regardless, it seemed like he was only getting bits and pieces.
Yeah.
Of what happened to him. I mean, when I first seen Communion, it was a long time ago, but the more research I did over the years, the more it looked like, that's another thing that's really strange, ladies and gentlemen, because now I'm 40 years into abduction research. So my views and opinions 40 years ago are much different today than they were then, mainly because
all the
research
information.
Research and connections have changed my mind. But, and he's a nice guy. I mean, I've met him several times. He pissed off one of my researchers one time, but that he was talking with Linda about something, some kind of weirdness they had in common. And one of our researchers, David, had seen these weird blue aliens, and he was trying to tell Whitley about it. I think he pissed Whitley off, because Whitley was like kind of shunned him off. And I was kind of like, well, David, he's busy, and he probably hears stuff a million times. He's Whitley Strieber. The book was very famous. The movie was very famous. But there was definitely things in the movie that were complete garbage. Even though you can't get him to admit to some of it. I don't know, maybe now. So it's like when you talk to Travis Walton, he'll tell you point blank, look, this was not true. It's the same thing like when I just interviewed Orson Scott Card the other day about Ender's Game, and he tells you, no, this is not what was supposed to be in the movie. This was like the star was supposed to be 10 years old or 9 years old. You don't
not 15 or 16.
You don't get that from watching Ender's Game. So he said he did it that way because you didn't have hormones yet. You had going through puberty, and he figured that if you're going to learn how to do stuff in space like that, they would start teaching you at a young age, especially if you lived in space.
Yeah,
maybe that's true. I don't know, but it was a lot of fun talking about it. I'll tell you that. Orson Scott Card, John, he's a prolific sci-fi writer. Yeah, look him up. If you haven't seen Ender's Game, go watch it. It's a lot of fun.
Has he written?
It's
what else has he written besides Ender's Game?
A lot of stuff. He's the only person that's won the Nebula and the Laureate.
Hugo and
and
Enzo worked consecutively.
Yeah, he's actually, and he's a Mormon out of Utah who has very strong political views.
Yeah.
But he got canceled there for a while. He said something about gay marriage, and he got canceled for a while. And when I met him about 4 years ago, I said, don't. I said, in the future, don't ever let that bother you. Give me a call. I'll deal with that for you. He's like, that could have been dealt with. I said, easily. I say easily. But he's back, and he's out there, It amazed me, I was talking with John and Emily, who were with him on some of his signings, and they were talking about how many people had named their kids Ender. I was like, what? I even said this to him when we was on the show. Ender? I said, why would you name your kid? And he started laughing. I was like,
that would be like reading Anthony Burgess's book, A Clockwork Orange, and naming all of your firstborn children Alexander DeLarge.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I don't get it. Yeah, I mean,
getting back to
the way I was watching the show from Facebook, and the way Scott was describing the actual real book character of Ender, he was a bully. He was a punk. He was a bastard. But in the movie, he's your typical black fingernailed, angry angst teen goth.
Yeah, that's another thing that pissed him off.
Not 15.
Yeah, that was another thing that pissed him off. He just didn't feel like the main character. I mean, would have made the movie any better. I don't know.
I do think, and I said so in the comments. You guys weren't able to see them all, but I do think that Asa Butterfield did the best he could with the shitty director's directions.
I feel like the movie was filmed with like preteens in mind. It was like a film for older kids.
Yeah, no question.
Yeah, it's a kids movie.
It's a weird movie because, when you read the book, it's not. The book is about how they're training children to be the fighting factor in the future for everybody. Yeah. So in other words, instead of starting kids at war at 17, they're now starting them at 7. That's what the book is really about. But you don't really get that out of the movie. You get something entirely different.
Well, it's the same thing with Clockwork Orange. The movie depicts an 18-year-old, post-high school, pre-college aged kid committing all these heinous acts of violence. But in the book, he's 15, and his 3 friends are 15, 14, and 13 years old.
I mean, it just happened. But, that's how it is, people. Christopher, we're going to get back to what we're talking about. We just got sidetracked for a minute. Calm down. We got a little while yet. So we're going to bring Thomas Reed on here. I'll get with Jay, and we'll hunt him down, and we'll get him somebody in the network. I probably have his contact information, but somebody in the network does. It's what do you mean, Whitley? Can I get Whitley Strieber as a guest for you on your podcast? Are you on my network? No? Well, you should have asked me that on Friday. I would have had a much funnier answer for you.
Yeah. A much more, let's just say, more colorful answer.
Well, it's more colorful. Yeah, Jay's right. It's a much more colorful answer. It would have been. Why would I do that? No. You know what? Text me when we get off the air. Why would I create competition for my own network? No, we stay in good standing because we share different guests on our network. That's why. Yes. Different people on our network are going to have different guests on at the same time or around the same time. So it's weird how it paces out, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
It does sometimes here we go. See, and Leah must be gifted because she brings him up. What's the next case on the list? The UFO abduction of Whitley Strieber while he was writing sci-fi.
Yeah,
Obviously, this guy does not believe this the way he wrote that. Wow, he was right.
And I just randomly came up with that question without even knowing what was on the list.
It's next on the list. Yeah,
it's the next one.
I had no idea.
So what you got? The wolf.
No, I didn't know he did the Wolfen. So the Wolfen was yeah.
Yeah, you didn't know about the Wolfen. Yeah, it's a series of movies actually. It's like.
Well, I know about the first one. I don't know about the rest of them, but was Jack Nicholson in that?
Oh, I don't remember who was in it. Those years were
Michelle Pfeiffer.
It's
Michelle Pfeiffer. Yeah.
It's I do remember watching him now.
Albert Finney. Albert Finney's in it.
It was two. Oh, what the hell were they?
Gregory Hines, Edward James Olmos. Wow, wow. Tom Noonan's in it. He was the bad guy in Manhunter.
Heidi said hi, Linda. Hi, Heidi.
Yeah, all I remember nowadays is just a. It's all I remember nowadays. It's just a classic. Yeah, but they give you the whole cast and all that wonderful stuff. And, there was a series of these wolf movies that came out. There was 6 or 7 of them, but I don't know if they were wolf. But they all came in like back. Oh, what were they?
Yeah, American Werewolf in London.
No, it wasn't like that. This was like the Wolfen, but it was like there was like 5 in a row.
Oh yeah.
And it started out. It started out bringing. It's what brought in the family of the wolves. Oh man, I can't remember the name of it.
You're gonna like the second. You're gonna like the next story that comes up.
Okay, so anyway, Whitley is one of those things. People, you take it for what it is. Some people think it's real. Some people think it was just a flight of fancy. I've met Whitley a couple of times. To be honest with you, he seems to be. Well, let's just say this: he believes it regardless. And the thing about it is
well, and he passed a
I really think he probably. He's probably taken. It's just he's probably, like I said earlier, he's probably just got disjointed information. I said that's why there's gaps and weird stuff, and it's like, okay, well, we took you at your place in New York, your camp, but we put you back in your car on the side of the road in Neverland. No, they don't do shit like that. It's not the way they do things. It's just a couple of things that were in the movie, and it could have just been the people doing the movie that just didn't seem right. And even in the book, there was some stuff that just seems like it was filler because he didn't know what to put there.
Yeah.
But there was other stuff that seemed like it needed it, like it should be there. And the same thing with Steven, what's his name, Spielberg's Taken. There was things in there that was obviously somebody was a contactee or somebody knew a contactee. They definitely had information in there that was definitely real, but they also had a bunch of bullshit.
You may not know this, Joe. Steven Spielberg actually had, Jay Allen Hynek as his on-set UFO expert. So he probably got the information from him.
Yeah, he had some. The climbing up the wall thing was technically classified with everybody back in the day. Even we didn't release it until after the movie, but it's and even then we didn't have to. We just thought it would help out. But there are things that somebody asked me just this other day. Why do we keep things classified? Because if I didn't, I'd never know who was telling me the truth. Right now, with the abduction criteria we've put out over the last 3 decades, it's enough to make it hard to know when somebody's not telling the truth. It makes the investigation harder.
Well, just so the audience is aware, that is not necessarily illegal, nor is it amoral. It's typical police interview tactics. Once they know certain facts, they keep those to themselves and ask you leading questions, which, if you give the wrong answer, they know you're lying.
Yes, you gotta love law enforcement.
Yep. They're fantastic.
But you always have the right just to not say anything to people. Don't forget that.
That's correct. That's why they give you those rights.
You go, I know speak English. And they bring in a Spanish person. I know speak Spanish. I know speak Russian. Well, what do you speak of, Russian? So then they give you a nice, cushy, comforty cell then after that.
Oh, yeah.
Calvin Park and I remember when what's his name died. It's just recently too. He asked to come on the show. It wasn't that long ago. A couple of months back, I was just preoccupied with something else at the time.
Right.
Well, to be honest with you, to talk to contactees, I got to be in the mood for it. It's, I mean, That's a bad way of saying it, but I need to be able to give them my full attention and not be distracted by something else. If I'm going to be talking to somebody who's actually had an abduction, I want to make sure I absorb everything. This was crazy. So because of these guys, about 2 weeks after this happened, the military got together and released a bunch of pink and green kind of turquoise green colored clouds across the skies, trying to flush out UFOs.
Very interesting.
And they also wanted to see how many people saw them, which was quite a lot. They passed right over New Orleans Cemetery, which is crazy. I've been to this spot where they were taken from.
What do you guys think about crop circles?
Well,
what kind of crop circles?
Like the kind of crop circles that have like sacred geometry or
Fake.
like weird hieroglyphs, or like there's even been crop circles where it's like a face of an alien inside of it.
Fake.
It's all fake?
Well, why would an alien do that?
I don't know.
So here's a better question for you. So they've been round crop circles for 3,000 years. All of a sudden, in the last 30 years,
they get real intricate.
Yeah, all of a sudden they get all kind of intricate.
Fractals, like Leah said, sacred geometry symbols.
Or even like they look like maps of solar systems.
Sometimes, and then there's some that are actual like sound waves. Like if you take sand and put it on a drum head and generate certain sound waves, the sand will create these different geometric patterns. Those have been made. Here's what I can say about crop circles. They aren't made worldwide by two elderly English gentlemen with a board, a 6-pack of beer, and a couple of stogies.
Okay, first off, they never even went worldwide until like 19 or 2000, really. There had never been a crop circle outside of England until very recent times.
Right.
And I mean,
it happened in my hometown. There was a crop circle in Fairfield, California. Well, Sassoon.
Yeah.
Sassoon Valley.
Well, crop circles aren't hard to make, so as long as you have a good understanding of math, they're not really that complicated to make. And round ones is all you've ever seen. So in England, when a real crop circle shows up, a round one, usually there'll be something seen, but there's more than that. So the crop circles you're talking about don't have the expulsion cavities on.
Yeah.
So whatever this is that makes this crop do
made by
this,
an electromagnetic anomaly that is unidentified.
It makes the elbows pop out. It's almost like popcorn.
Yep.
Whatever's going through.
Well, not only that, but it also intricately weaves the strands together. So it breaks it like the first or second knuckle from the ground, and then it weaves itself into a pattern in a circle.
And then there's this weird gel shit that's found there that nobody knows what the hell it is. So, I mean, there are crop circles that have legitimate things that you see in them, but all of those are round. None of them are fancy-dancy crop circles. And to be honest with you, I don't think the crop circles are for us. I think they're for the aliens. But hey, Bob, I was here. Hey, Jack.
Hang on
8 o'clock tomorrow.
I'll get you a video.
Sure, stop here. I mean, I don't really think they're really for us. Because they were making them at times 3,000 years ago. Nobody would know what the hell that was. They'd have and most of them wouldn't even noticed it. I mean, how many reports of crop circles do you remember hearing from 3,000 or 2,000, even 1,000 years ago, but yet they existed because they're in literature. It's one of them things. Some things, man needs to remember sometimes not everything in the universe is about us. And it may just be stop and go signs. Hey, see, Bob, look, Bob agrees. He's like, yeah, see his little red glasses popped on. Anytime his glasses on, he agrees. I'm just saying it could be any of that. And then there's the whole, what is it? Not spontaneous, the chaos theory. A lot of people believe in the chaos theory when it comes to crop circles. I don't personally, but I've talked to people who do.
I have the video of the allegedly first and only crop circle forming on live video. It's actually pretty cool.
Good. Put it up there. Play it for everybody, man. Whoa! Freaking aliens jumped on the screen like that.
All right, it's only a minute long, so let me start it back over.
Start it wherever you need to start it. All right, Jackie, let me turn off that down there. That is just the chat room that came on. Right. It's so y'all can see it on the
full screen. All right, we ready? Here we go. Boom.
Here we go. I think I've seen this. There's a few of these videos out here, by the way, people, these little disky thingies. I don't even know if they're disky things, little orby thingies running around in fields.
It's coming up in a few seconds here. This is
we interviewed this tractor guy, the farm owner, right? He said he runs out there in his double-wheel tractor, tries to run him over. You want to hear that?
You want to hear that?
Yeah, turn it up. Let's hear what he's saying, man.
Here I'm standing at Oliver's Castle at precisely the same spot as John Whaley was standing in August 1996, when he supposedly, for the first time in history, managed to film the creation of a crop circle.
Here we go.
Yep, I've seen this.
Yeah, I've seen this.
Yeah, I've seen this.
It's fake. Pretty damn good.
That the crop circle was not here on the previous day but had appeared on the following morning was a fact. That John Whaley was here at dawn could be confirmed by a military patrol that happened to be jogging by at the time. John went to the local pub later that same day and showed his film to the people there. Even so, many believe that he had managed to manipulate the film with computer animation in the meantime, something that computer animation experts doubt. To overlay a perfect animation over a handheld, unstable film would need several days of work using the computer equipment of that time. Even today, the film is still a great mystery, and John has gone underground due to the intense interest that his film created.
It's pretty amazing, huh?
It's interesting, that's for sure.
That's pretty curious. It's something else, all right.
I had always said, and I never suspected that UFOs would be involved, and I still don't. I've always just thought it was, because we don't know everything about the planet. I've always thought it was an unknown, unidentified, natural phenomenon on the Earth, a natural weather type of
That's why they say it's it. It's a guy calls it a chaos theory.
You see two silver balls that not necessarily spaceships, two balls of light, and then the things form, and then the two balls of light, they seem to fly off, but they disappear before they leave the screen.
So what do you
I think
guys
this is
think?
the one
What do you
McAfee
guys
said
think
was
this?
fake there. Oh, man, there you go. That's a good one.
And what about that one? That crop circle.
That's a fucking ugly one there, man.
What do you make of that?
All right, man, come on. G-rated show, man. Get that off your screen. They're going to come after your ass. You know, when you're on
funny.
TV, you know when you're on TV and you break the G-rated, they put you in jail.
I'm sorry, but that was funny.
Yeah.
It's the first thing he said in like 20 minutes.
Because he was looking. Empty that right quick. Crop circles are just what they are. They've been here a long time. They don't seem to be changing anything, doing anything, making anybody do anything. Matter of fact, you don't even hear about them anymore. The last 10 or 15 years, they seem to have gone the way of the dodo bird.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
You do still every now and hear about a round one in the UK, but other than that, you don't hear about it anymore. They kind of fizzle out.
It always seems to be in the UK.
Because the UK is interesting. UK is, first off, when it comes to alien abductions, UK is the control group. You haven't noticed the UK, their abductions are pretty much different than everybody's. They're the opposite, usually. They're usually cranky and pissy. A lot of bad stuff happens to them in the abductions, where around with other people it's different. They're like the control group. And
Well, I love my UK people, man. I do, but they're very annoying. And if you like abduct them, I can't imagine that lasting all that long before you want to dump them out.
That's what drugs are for, man.
Oh, I heard you guys mentioning Sheffield right after I logged in. Is that in reference to the?
Wait, what? You broke up.
Broke up.
You remember? Right? Can you hear me better?
Yeah.
Okay.
After I had logged in, somebody mentioned Sheffield. Was that in reference to the elementary school sighting where there was a bunch of kids who all reported to see a UFO and like little beings while they were in school somewhere in the UK?
No, that was something else we were talking about.
There's one in the Australia. I don't know the name of the school, but like 60 some kids were outside at recess when a UFO flew over for about 30 minutes and stayed, hovering in the area.
So I mean, yeah, it's what is this one here? Alien abduction and Antonio Villas Boas. Where the hell is this at?
We're on page 5 now.
I'm on. I just passed up. We were looking at the
page 5.
Yeah.
Alien abduction of Antonio Villas Boas.
Yeah, he's. This is
Oh,
October 1957. So these cases.
1954. 2 Venezuelan teenagers.
Oh, was it? Oh, I was just reading whatever this is.
If you're talking about Antonio Boas, yeah, 1954, and then 1957 later, Brazilian journalist.
Rio de Janeiro. I mean, if you got to see a UFO, that's a place to see one. Especially if it's doing a carnival, man. That's a place to see one.
Who was the first recorded abduction ever? Like in the media recorded, whatever.
It depends who you want to argue with. This guy's from 1954, so that's pretty far back. But I could imagine if you went and hunted through all the ancient cases like we used to, I think probably about 6,000 years or so.
I mean, the Prophet Muhammad was apparently visited by angels who took him into a ship, showed him the future worlds on this planet, and then took him out into space, showing him different worlds in space, and he wrote about this a few times. It wasn't just one mention,
Yeah, well, Notre Dame wrote about it too. A few other people did, but
well, I mean, do you think that was aliens and these guys just trying to wrap their mind around what happened? They're going to call them angels, and they get gathered up and taken out. And this is the way. There's Native Americans that have the same story.
Well, Hitler definitely was talking about the human aliens when he was talking about the
Aryans.
When he was talking about the angels in the book Mon Temps. That's who he was talking about. He was talking about they were the ones who told him how to do the genetic experiments and shit. That was the extraterrestrials telling him that crap. No telling what those humans were up to. The human aliens were up to. They've been here since Samaria, at least since Samaria, so no telling.
But if he's looking for religious items like all these powerful, like the Ark of the Covenant and all these powerful items, those are really most likely alien artifacts and not.
Well, the Ark, they think. Well, okay, so the Ark is a weird thing. The Ark, some people believe exactly what it is. When you open it up, it's some type of transceiver running on some kind of radiation. But somebody, new science, and somebody at the Vatican just said it was a different type of object. It was not shaped like that. So I don't know now. I don't know which way it's going to go on that. But any of those things that could do stuff, we're probably not. What's that, Jamie? Well, we don't know. See, I actually lost a good job because I said Jesus could have been an astronaut. Oh, yes. Cost me a $200,000 job with bonuses. Oh, yes, it did. Family who owned the company was very religious. Yes. Terminated me the next day. Yep. And no, they never said that's what it was for, but that's the only thing that happened because I just got a raise 2 days earlier, so it wasn't anything I had done other than that. Shit happens. People are very funny about it. Well, I mean, somebody asked me something about it, and we were standing there talking, and I said, well, he could have just as well been an astronaut as been a god. We don't know. I said, because most of the experiments, at that time, most of the stuff that was written about him, we've already been able to reproduce. And within 100 years, we'll be able to reproduce everything Jesus said was a miracle. Well, he didn't say it was a miracle. What everybody else said was a miracle. Yeah. We'll be able to reproduce him, and we're not Jesus or anybody else for that matter. So that doesn't make us gods because we can produce all the miracles. and give us 1,000,000 years, we'll be able to produce even more miracles that people haven't even talked about, like being able to travel through time and space, or being able to create new worlds or habit new worlds.
Well, allegedly,
Terraform
the
new
White
worlds.
House says they have technology that allows them to, travel the spans of time.
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
Yeah.
Well,
Or
we'll see
Democrats.
that. Hopefully, they don't ever let any Democrats. I hate to see where we'll come back from that. No, Jeffrey, it's all of these different things like the crop circles or the Ark of the Covenant. These are all things, but a lot of it probably doesn't have anything to do with us. Today's man, it probably has nothing to do with us.
They said the ark, those two pieces, it was some kind of high-powered electrical device.
Well, they say, yeah, most people believe it's a transmitter. But there was been something recently found that suggests it wasn't a box. It was something else. I don't know. Don't look at me, people. That came from the Vatican. So
Well,
you have to go talk to them about that.
I think that any of these magical mystery devices that people swore by back in the day were most likely alien artifacts, whatever, what may be gifted, may be left behind, or when they were building civilizations. Or
Stuff that was stolen.
directing them, to build civilizations. You know what I mean?
Yeah, stuff that was stolen and stuff. It's well, they might have to them Earth back then might have been like the game Civ, and they all had their own characters and they were playing. Or like if you've ever watched Stargate Atlantis, they found these they thought they were playing a game and it was actually real civilizations. It could be us.
Yeah, the tilted kilt girls. That's right.
Yeah,
My
it
friends
could be
took me
us.
there in Colorado Springs. They it was my birthday actually, but I was driving through. Got to go to the tilted kilt, and I don't associate naked ass and food. The two just don't match for me, and I
I
get
hope
grossed
not.
out. I get grossed out really easily, man. I'm one of those germ people, because I've seen too much. I've seen too much.
Dexter, I
Although
like
I
that.
appreciate the people who took me there, it's not my cup of tea. Have you ever been there, Joe? Jay?
No, I ain't
Oh,
been doing it.
yes, yeah, we have one. It was expensive. The food was. I mean, look, Hooters isn't a gourmet place, but they made a decent burger, and it was a cheaper.
Yeah, but the tilted kilt had these girls, these really micro.
I know. Yeah, the guy who did that was also one of the guys who started Hooters.
It was also like a sports bar, like a sports place. You know what I mean?
Well,
I'm sure that's what it was.
The two guys that started Hooters, they
Did
split
they
up.
have aliens in it? We ain't interested if they have aliens.
The other one started something
Illegal
else.
aliens in the kitchen washing dishes.
We don't know about no illegal aliens. Say that for Friday.
I'm sure they had some illegal aliens there.
So wait. I was on an Australian one before I started talking with y'all. What the hell was I? Oh, this is the one where they took him out the plane. The plane was just flying along and poof.
While he was mid-flight, yes.
Yeah, while I was mid-flight, the aliens took him.
There's definitely nothing that we could do. My labs can't do that.
It's when was this? This was in another one in October in '78. So this is a little later on.
Did they take him out and put him back in again?
What bothers me about all this is I'm sure they did, but I haven't. It's Travis Walton, 75. Yeah, Travis, we'll talk about you next week. Who else is on this list? They're actually all pretty decent cases. How in the bleep did this get on here? I'm not going to mention this case because I think this is BS, so I'm not going to say it. But
the next one?
Yeah, I actually know both of them. They're regulars on Facebook. They're regular listeners to this show, by the way. They've been guests. I'm sorry it's Travis, but anyway, I'm going to be polite and move on. Mars, if you got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. So
right,
we're gonna move on. Who is this?
Audrey and Debbie Hewins.
No, that's what I was talking about, Goofy. Alien. Let's see. Alien story. Marine veteran Terai Copeland saw him abducted while napping. What? I don't even remember this story. I don't know where this one came from. Yeah, matter of fact, one of the ones you just mentioned, I'm fighting with on Facebook because they're so liberal. It's insane. Y'all seen the new cat they found scribbled in the mountain? They say it's forever old, a couple thousand years old. So how do you see a big white cat inside a mountain for 1,000 years and you never notice it? It just seems a little.
Yeah, I saw that. That's got to be fake or clickbait.
It's I've seen it a couple times. I haven't really looked at it much. So let's see, table of contents. Let's see. So this group has Betty and Bunny Hill, number 1, Travis Walton, number 2, Allagash Abduction, number 3. We can talk about that one pretty soon. Antonio, yes, Pascagoula.
Yeah.
The Aerial School Encounter. That must be the one Lee is talking about.
Yeah.
The Phoenix Lights.
It was in the UK, and it was in like the 60s.
Hold on, I can tell you if that's the right one. We'll pop in there and see. Oh no, this is the one that was in Zimbabwe. I remember this. This was.
Yeah.
There's a lot of nasty stuff went on there, and a lot of people went disappearing. Body parts were found, and so there was. Oh man. Betty Anderson abduction, Rendlesham Forest. They got in there, so we might touch on those next week. What's that, Chrissy? No. So Friday night, we'll be talking about our new plane that we bought. Yes. Jay and I and Michael went on thirds each in a $400 million Boeing jet. We said we want to look like Trump. We're going to have Trump painted on the tail of ours. Yes.
Yeah, but not painted. It's going to be a wrap. That's the new fad. They're going to wrap the tail and with a MAGA hat.
Yes, and we'll do the wings as Bondi.
Yeah.
We'll do one wing as Bondi and one wing as what's her name? Catherine. Is that her name? His rep, the one that talks for him all the time, press secretary.
Oh God, yeah.
Yes, there we go. It's a cool plane, guys. It's a 747-800. Yes,
it's a 747 Series 8.
I think that we should sponsor
the current
someone
planes we have for the president are
to volunteer to be abducted, man. Let's sponsor somebody.
We've had many people volunteer to be abducted over the years. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, they can't be annoying though, man. They gotta be cool.
No, Ronnie, really. No, we've had people. We have a long list of contactees that are in the organization.
These are the 10 states.
Someone want to put themselves out there.
The 10 states with the highest likelihood of an alien abduction: California, number 1; Washington, number 2; Florida, number 3; Oregon, number 4; New York, number 5; Texas, number 6; Pennsylvania, number 7; Arizona, number 8; Colorado, number 9; and Nevada, number 10. No New Mexico. How weird is that?
Because there's hardly nobody in New Mexico. It's like 1.5 million people or something.
Yeah, it's a very
So Colorado, you can hang off the list. Nobody gets abducted in Colorado. They're not even interested in Colorado. They say they're too stoned. Don't want to have nothing to do with them. California and New York are legit only because the amount of population there. It's hard to make people understand when we first got in the abduction field. Oh, abductions only happen out in the woods with crazy people living in trailers. No. The majority of abductions happen inside big cities. That's where they happen. That's where the majority of people are at. That's why the majority of abductions happen there. They happen in rural areas, but not like they happen in big cities. Think of it this way. Think of you've got a city the size. New York's 8 million people. LA is 8 million people. So what's 15% of 8 million?
$50.
50 bucks. What's 15%? So 10% we know is what? 800,000. So about 1.3. Yeah, about 1.3 million people in New York City, and in LA get abducted.
New York City. Manhattan's got 8 million. Just Manhattan Island got 8 million people.
Well, the New York City itself is 8 million, and then the surrounding suburbs gives them 23. I think it's 22. We just went over this. We just went over this the other night. But anyway, the when I asked it, I said New York City gave me 8 million, and then I said suburbs, it gave me 23 million. When I did that for California, LA gave me 8 million, but it only gave me 17 million in the
Population of the
suburbs.
5 boroughs.
You know, so it was kind of crazy. And when you think about that many freaking people, so think about the rest of New York is empty.
Yeah.
I mean, because there's only 28
Well,
million people in the whole damn
this is
state.
saying the whole 5 boroughs has 8.4 million.
Well, yeah, it's true. And then the surrounding suburbs is another, puts it up to 23 million.
Brooklyn 2.7, Manhattan 1.6, Queens
Yeah, sounds
2.4,
right.
the Bronx 1.3, and Staten
Where
Island
is
419.
before we leave? Where is your girlfriend AOC? What is her district? The Bronx, Brooklyn.
The
Where's she at?
Bronx and part of Queens, but now they're trying to get her out because they're saying that things are so much worse. Crime went up 70%.
Oh yeah, we're gonna be talking about her Friday. Oh, we got a couple things
She
to talk
hasn't.
about her.
No one's even seen her around there, and then they say she hasn't done nothing for them, just nothing. So
ladies and
good.
gentlemen, so Friday night we're gonna be talking about her and quite a few other things. Now on Saturday night she's gonna be with us on the chat, so y'all be sure to come hang out. Yes. Yeah.
Gotta have Sean. Sean's gonna be going crazy for that one, man.
Yeah, so you know.
Who's gonna be there?
AOC. So
Nuh-uh.
be sure to come hang out and check her out and tell her hi. And
Are you fibbing?
She said she wants to. The show got 4.5 million, 5 million listeners. She said she wants to, we got more listeners than freaking CNN does.
Are you kidding? She's coming on.
She's like, can I come hang out with you guys? Y'all are so sexy and
You're
handsome.
fibbing.
You're fibbing.
I said, I'm the only sexy and handsome one on the whole damn net. No, really, I'll just come out and hang out with us and come check her out. She'll be here for an hour.
In reality, Joe, if we did put her on, we would probably lose 5 million listeners.
Actually, to be frank with you, we are in negotiations with her. Okay, real quick story, because y'all know I did the LA mayor just recently. Her interview airs there twice, and it's fabulous. Everybody loved it. I'm going to probably get Newsom out of that deal. But because of that, I asked her if she knew anyone that could get me in touch with AOC. And she said yes, and she gave me some crazy girls. I shouldn't even say that on air, but anyway, I wrote to them. They wrote me back. I wrote to them. They wrote me back. I sent them a list of questions. They wrote me back. So, but they always do stuff on their own schedule. So I don't. Anytime I do stuff like that with Rachel Maddow, it's when they decide to do it, and I only usually get 24 or 48 hours notice. But I told them it can only be on Friday or Saturday. So you have to do it that way because I want it to be a live show. I want people to be able to call in and say, AOC, we love you.
Nice.
Yeah, you know, and stuff like that. We'll eventually get her. Yeah, we sometimes we have to do those as a pre-record. But even if we do, I can get a gang together. We could do it as a pre-record. We'll make everybody come with 5 questions. Well, Mike's the only true New Yorker. Sean and Jay are in Pennsylvania, so Leah's in hell somewhere in Illinois, and it's a hippie, so.
I mean, like, you're not wrong, dude. The weather sucks here. The food is hit or miss, mostly miss. The roads are terrible. I don't know. I've become more of an agoraphobic than I ever have been.
Oh my God, here we go. What are we going to do with you? Well, eventually we'll get her into a nice, warm, sunny place. I'm talking Michelle into moving into a nice, warm, sunny place. So you know one of these days you'll be old, Michelle. Old people hate cold weather.
Well, I think I'm stuck here for a while, for a long time. At least another decade.
Oh my God, she'll have lost her
Feels like
mind.
I'm serving a sentence.
She'll have lost her mind by then. What do you mean, Clara?
I'm gonna head out, guys.
Be good. Yeah, we're wrapping up ourselves.
Okay,
Clara, you can write to icar@cox.net. Yes.
Have a good night.
Yep, you too, Leah. Thanks for coming in.
But be good, boo. Put attention, Joe. Put attention, Joe. Alien abduction. I get a lot of emails, so I don't want to miss it. Yes. No, every so often. As a matter of fact, I'll be doing it this weekend. Every so often, I go through and just delete because it just my email gets handed out a lot, so it gets a lot of garbage on it. Mike over here with this thing rolling next to his alien head.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird having that thing there. Okay. Anyway, guys and girls, we got to go, but be sure to hang out Friday night. We will be talking about AOC. We will be talking about, Yeah, we'll be talking about Michael Angley. That's just usual. But who? No, we're going to be talking about Bernie Sanders. How he said that the Democrats are dangerous for democracy. Oh yeah, I can't wait to talk about that.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about Humpty Trumpty. We're going to be talking about how one set says his poll numbers are great, one set says it's not. It's crazy and roller coaster he's on.
You
But
guys talk about Bernie Sanders flying on those private planes.
oh yes, don't not forget that, y'all. Everybody put that in their head.
He'll never fly commercial. He's like, what do you expect me to fly?
But it's worse than that. We need to get the clip because he's a real prick. And oh, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't mean to use that language, but he's a real, you know what, and that link and on that particular, he uses some nasty language. Just leave it at that. So guys, be sure to come check out that. Well, we'll be talking about Trump too. We might even be talking about a little Medicaid, Medicare. There's quite a few things we're going to be talking about on news and influence. There's a lot of news going on.
The big beautiful bill. Nobody's ever seen anything like it.
We need to discuss what may really be in it, what may not really be in it. No, next weekend we're going to be doing alien abductions again, but I'm going to be looking for Tom Reed's. I got to get with Jay, but I'm thinking we might start hunting down about a half a dozen or so alien abductions, just to give you an idea the difference between doing a case and hearing a case from, oh, Jesus, that's 50, 60 years ago. Most of the cases we were talking about tonight were 60 years plus. Yeah. So Betty and Barney Hill, 61. That would have made a 63, 64-year-old case. The 57-year-old case would have made almost a 70-year-old case.
We need to have someone on that who actually has been abducted, who's real, like for real.
Well, I've had many of them on. I just don't. Over the years, I've talked to a lot of abductees. I mean, a lot. It's a weird thing for me because
but I think a lot of them are full of crap.
No, because the ones we do have been polygraphed to avoid stress. So they ain't no crap.
The one guy that we had on that long ago, he was like just telling crazy, diluted stories.
Oh, what was that guy? I remember him. He was a lunatic.
Yeah, he was lunatic.
And that's the unfortunate thing is sometimes you get a couple of those too. No matter whether you're talking about alien exopolitics or abductions, they always a couple of lunatics out there.
There's quite a few people to talk to out there. Not as many as they used to be. There, a lot of them are dying, and a lot of them don't want to come public anymore. MUFON made a lot of people not want to be public for some reason. I'll call people and say, "Oh, I got."
The ones who don't want to be public are the best because they don't want the attention. In fact, that's what they don't want. But you still have to know about it to even start talking about it. So they'll have to go out public at some point, right?
Well, no, actually they don't. I mean, a lot of people who write to us will do the whole entire investigation, be polygraphed, the whole 9 yards, be starved, voice stressed. And we'll meet one or two of our investigators because if we consider them legit, eventually they're going to meet with a rep in person. But after that, their stuff goes into the file. Anytime they get anything new, they write us, we put it in. If there's something going on, we'll meet again. But they never have to go with more than 3 or 4 people ever. Usually 2 if they know they're an investigator. See, that's the thing. Because all of our guys are under non-disclosure agreements. So the way we do it is, you got your directors, your assistant directors, your investigators, your assistant investigators, but all of them, they'll get a case and they'll refer it up. That's usually what happens. When a case hits my desk, it's one of those kind of cases you're kind of like, what the heck is going on here? In the old days, I got everything. Today, when I get something, it's usually something like, what is going on here? So those are good. We might even talk about a couple of those. Michelle got me talking about a couple of older cases. I got a couple of new cases. I'll talk to some of them. I don't think they'll mind if we talk about them if we don't use their names. Maybe we'll use a fictitious name and do it that way. But I'd still like to bring on a couple of, what do you mean, abduction researchers? Why would I bring on any abduction researchers? Who?
He is one.
Yeah, and been doing it for a long time. But who? You know what? I don't mind if they're legit, because I love arguing with people. So send me their information, but make sure they're legit. Because if not, I'm gonna be a real nasty person next time I see you. Just I'm warning you, because I got this much time left in the world, and I don't want to be wasted on BS. Well, we all start out with this much time, and you go shh. And one day it gets down to
unless and until someone learns how to turn our telomeres back on, we have limited time.
So Masters and Johnson knows how to stop them. They can turn them off. They have been for. I seen the report 4 years ago, so they've been able to do it at least a decade. He said, turn your tongue. Well, that means you don't age anymore. That's what that means.
You will stop at whatever age you are now. And in some cases, they say regress 30 years.
Yeah, there's supposed to be a pill that it's like a nanite pill that flips the telomeres, and you take it and it'll regress you anywhere from 20 to 30 years. I hope it's not all at once. That would be horribly painful.
Yeah.
It's no, it's supposed to be true. Well, we'll know when we start seeing Elon getting younger.
Yeah.
Or other people getting younger. If all of a sudden
Or
Trump at
people
80,
who were once elderly and frail becoming still elderly but no longer frail overnight. Bingo.
Dude, there's a lot of stuff out there, but we got to go because Michelle will be coming on in 2 minutes. So y'all be sure to go check out the Outer Realm. I think our guest tonight is Michael Angley, so y'all go see what's going on over it. No, I'm just teasing. What is that, Christopher? I don't. I'd have to look all that up. No, I don't have that in front of me. I know what you're saying, but I don't. That's not. That's unless I'm doing shows like that and that kind of information. I'll usually keep that in front of me. No, it's stuff we track. We track all kind of stuff at the organization. Yes, because it makes it fun. Well, I don't see who our guest is, so I don't know, guys. Let's see. Light, ethereal, paranormal. I don't see it, guys. Outer Realm, Digging Deeper. That's tomorrow night's show. Oh, there it is. Journey from High Strangeness with film producer Jack Roth and John Supple. There you go. Go check it out. I'll be over there later on tonight. But until then, y'all have some fun. Enjoy your lives. Stay out of trouble. Don't talk to Mike. You're not allowed to talk to Mike. On that note, we'll see y'all Friday night. Stay out of trouble, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Oh, and bring your freaking war face for Friday night, guys. Bye.